Hello everyone, welcome to Studious IELTS. My name is Surinder Chaudhary. Today I am going to talk about one particular type of question in IELTS writing task 1, and that is a part of academic test. And this question is a little bit tricky one because a number of students are very much confused in understanding this type of question, and the type is process diagram. So first of all, what process diagrams are, right? How do we see them? What kind of questions appear in your IELTS examination? So let's have a look on it. Well, there is a picture in front of you. A diagram is in front of you, and the diagram represents two different processes, right? In first one, it is a depiction of cement production. The entire process of cement production has been described in the first diagram, and in the second diagram there is a process of concrete production. So what do we have to do in our examination? We have to elaborate them, or we can also say that we have to summarize that process in form of a report, because they will give you such a diagram and they will ask you to write a report in around 150 words summarizing everything that is important in this process. So this is how the question appears in IELTS exam writing task 1 in academic exam. Okay, so before understanding the diagram, let's have a look on the question first. What question says? What is the description of diagram? It says the diagrams below show the struggles. This is diagrams. Diagrams below show the stages and equipment used in the cement making process and how cement is used to produce concrete for building purposes. So this is what they have mentioned here. Well, before I start the answer, before I start explaining this diagram, my first step as a student must be to understand each and every part of the diagram. So I will have to spend a good span of 2 to 3 minutes, or even sometimes 4 to 5 minutes, to understand, to bring it into the mind that how everything is involved in the entire process. So if you are able to make a logical sequence of the process, it will be very easy for you to describe it, right? So first of all, you have to see that what is included in cement production process. So there are different types of materials which are added into a crusher, then these are mixed, then these are brought to the rotating heater, and after the heat there is a grinder where these are put together, and finally the cement is ready and it is packed into the bag. So this is my raw understanding of the process, the first process that is in the diagram. If I have to talk about the second one is about concrete production. So concrete production involves cement as well, which has been produced here. But apart from that, there are other aspects or other kinds of material is also available, like gravel, sand, and water. And finally, everything has been mixed together in a concrete mixer, and finally, concrete production is ready. So something that is concrete is ready for the purpose of building purposes. So obviously, why I am saying building purposes, because this is a part of your question. If you have to achieve your task completely, never forget the keywords that has been mentioned in your question, right? So please remember that. Okay, now we have a good look on the entire process. We have understood the sequence of the things that are happening in this process. Now we have to write a report on it. And like other task 1 questions, I would also divide this task into 4 different paragraphs: introduction, overview, body paragraph 1, and body paragraph 2. Let's have a look on these one by one. So first of all, if we talk about introduction, how do we have to introduce our task? So there is a basic rule about it, about introduction, that whenever you are attempting this question, I would suggest you to paraphrase your question completely. Let's have a look. How did I paraphrase it? It says the diagrams depict the steps and equipment involved in cement production. You can clearly see it is the direct paraphrasing of our question. If we go to the question once again, it says the diagrams below show the stages and equipment used in the cement making process. Here I said the diagrams depict the steps and equipment involved in cement production, right? So this is the direct paraphrasing of the question itself. And if we have a look on the second part of the question, and how cement is used to produce concrete for building purposes, how did I paraphrase it? As well as the use of cement in manufacturing process of concrete for construction purposes. So this is same thing we have mentioned in our introduction, but in a paraphrased manner. So this is the best method. This is the right method to write your introduction of task 1. If you do that, you will be able to mention what is coming ahead in the entire report. Okay, so second part of your essay or second part of your report should be an overview of the process. Overview is generally what we take out from the entire process in nutshell. What is the conclusion? What is the abstract of entire report? What are we going to talk about in the detail of report must be your overview. How do we do that? Let's have a look on it. Okay, we have to start our answer by saying that it is an overview, and for that, this is a good way to start, an impressive way to start your overview by saying that from an overall perspective, cement production follows a procedure that includes 5 stages, starting from the blending of raw materials and ending with the packaging of freshly produced cement. So you can clearly see that it is a process, cement production is a process or a procedure in which there are a number of steps that we have already mentioned. That firstly, different kind of raw material is blended together and mixed further, right? Then it is heated in a rotating heater, then it is grinded as well, and finally it has been packed into the bags. So in overview, what you have to do? In overview, you don't have to talk about every step that has been involved in the process. You just have to mention that what kind of steps are involved, as well as where the process starts, as well as where it ends. You just have to mention that. And what kind of process is it? You can also say that if you can understand it very clearly. So in this way, we have said that it is a process where different kinds of stages are included in it, and it starts from this point and it ends at this point. So this becomes your overview of first part of your process. If we talk about second part, because obviously it is also an essential part of your question, so how would we make an overview of it? Conversely, creating concrete is a simpler procedure that entails mixing 4 components in a concrete mixture. In comparison to this, it is slightly simpler one, as they say. And why is it simple? We have an equipment named concrete mixture. What do we have to do in this? We just have to put all the things into it and rotate it, right? So this is how the second part of your process has been given an overview in your answer. Now we will have to move to the next part, where we are going to describe those steps in a sequence, right? How do we do that? Let's have a look. So as we always do, it is the smart move to divide your things in task 1 into different steps, into different paragraphs. So what do we do here? We are supposed to talk about this first process in our body paragraph 1, right? What is the explanation? Okay, limestone and clay undergo crushing, and the resulting powder is subsequently mixed before undergoing heating in a rotating heater. So firstly, in this process, what happens? Two things are crushed together, right? And finally, there is a powder that comes out of that crushing, which is mixed and put into a rotating heater, right? Where it is heated further. Following heating, after heating, what happens? This mixture is carried over a grinder for grinding purpose. Next, you can clearly see that when heating is done, the entire mixture has been put on a grinder, and this grinder is grinding it. Right? What happens next? Once the cement is manufactured, once the cement is ready, it is packed and transported to a site where it can be utilized in concrete production. That we clearly know that here it's the cement will be used for concrete production. So we have concluded our first paragraph by saying that it is packed into bags, and the purpose of packing into bags is to transport it here so that it can be utilized for the next uses of cement, and that is concrete production. So this is how we are supposed to talk about our first process in this part. So you can clearly see we have talked about every step that has been included in this process. Apart from that, we are able to say things in different ways of sentences. Sometimes students say that we have completed the entire process, we have explained the entire process, still we could not get good marks in our writing. The reason is they are not able to make a good variation of their sentences. They are saying everything in same way. For example, let me give you an example of it. What do they do? They say in first step limestone and clay are mixed in a crusher. In the next step the mixture is heated in a rotating heater. Then they say in third step this happens, in fourth step this happens. They are saying everything in the same way. They are not showcasing their variety in their uses of sentences, and that becomes a good reason for them to get lower scores, right? So never do that. Always try to make things a little bit more challenging, more complex when you are stating things. This will help you a lot. This will tell you how can we play with the words when we are talking about a different process or different steps of a single process in a sequence. Every time you are supposed to change the nature of your sentence. It is going to help you a lot to get good scores. Okay, going ahead into body paragraph 2, and it is very clear that in body paragraph 2 we are going to talk about the second part of our process, that is concrete production. How concrete is produced. So in the context of concrete production, it is made up of half gravel, quarter sand, 10% water and 15% cement. It has been mentioned in the picture that what ratio of what product is used to make concrete. You just have to play with the words to tell that how many or what kind of percentage or how much percentage is involved of an individual product, individual raw material. Every time if you write percentage for everything, it will showcase that you do not have imagination to say things differently. But if you have an imagination, if you are creative enough that if something is 50%, you can call it half. If something is 25%, you can call it quarter. So if you have that variety of your vocabulary, if you are able to put your lexical resource so effectively, it is going to impress your examiner a lot. What happens next? All of these are added together in an equipment. This is the equipment called concrete mixer. This is the name of the equipment, and rotated until concrete is generated. You can clearly see from the arrows that this is actually rotating itself when the things are added into it. And with this rotation, it is properly mixed and finally something is ready for the uses, and that is concrete. So this is how you are supposed to make a good summary, a good report of some process that has been given to you in a picture in your writing task 1. All right, this is the final preview of your answer that we have generated from our entire workshop, and it approximately carries 160 words. Words are not a very hard and fast rule in IELTS writing, because what they expect you is to complete your communication about the prompt, about the question. If you are able to do that, you have achieved your task. But still, if something has been written in the part of your question, because they have asked us to write down 150 words, so we should cross that bar any day. We shouldn't ignore that. Otherwise, it is not a written rule that you have to cross 150 words every time. But still, I would recommend you to do that. Okay, so that's all from this type of question in Writing Task 1 Academic, and I will sum up my workshop here. Well, if you want to join us for further training or more information, the contact details are in front of you. And apart from IELTS training, we are also available in visa counseling. So if you are interested for anything related to that, you can also contact us on these numbers. Thank you so much.